بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم صلى الله عليك يا رسول الله صلى الله عليك يا سيدي ويا مولاي يا أبا عبد الله يا رحمة الله الواسعة ويا باب نجاة الأمة ويا عبرة كل مؤمن ومؤمنة يا ليتنا كنا معكم سادتي فنفوز فوزا عظيما. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. وابتغي فيما آتاك الله الدار الآخرة ولا تنس نصيبك من الدنيا. صلوا على محمد وآل محمد. Everyone aspires to be successful. All parents drive their children to become successful individuals. We admire those who are successful. We talk about success. We dream of success. Success is what we wish for our friends and our family members, and of course ourselves. But what is success? We all aspire to be successful, but what is our definition of success? For many, success is defined in materialistic terms. A big house, wealth, a mansion, big accounts, yachts, expensive cars, traveling first class, business class lounges, cruise ships. Our sense of success is usually defined in materialistic sense. This is how we define success. Living wealthy, living good, living a proper, wealthy life. This is our idea of success. However, we see a lot of people who have achieved economically, materialistically. They live in the nicest homes and they drive the nicest cars and they have the yachts and they travel first class but they're not happy. They're not satisfied. You ask them, are you happy? They'll tell you no. There are some, materialistically, they're perfect, but they live miserable lives. Either they suffer from depression, or there's a problem in the family, they're separated, or their kids are estranged. They haven't spoken to their kids in years. Their kids would not recognize them. Many of them suffer from depression. Many of them end up committing suicide. This means that success has to be defined in another way. Success is not all about materialistic achievement. It means something else. Look at the lives of some celebrities. They have it all. And unfortunately, we do look at their lives and we're affected by their lives. So look, we follow them on social media. We're affected by them. We think this is success. Their homes, their cars, their travel. All they do, they travel first class. And we think this is success. But look at their lives. Some of them have the most miserable lives. Miserable lives. I'm sure many of them would be envious of our lives. Those of us that live ordinary lives, we live in ordinary homes and drive ordinary cars, but we have happiness. Something that cannot be bought with money. You can never buy happiness. You can buy big homes, but you can't buy satisfaction and happiness. That has to be earned. There are ways to be happy. Money can be a means. If used in the right way, money can be a means for your happiness. But you're spending on yourself, yachts and big mansions, and that's it. That's your only means of contribution? No. No. There are celebrities that don't just have miserable lives. They've committed suicide. Google the amount of celebrities, artists, singers, actors in the American world, the Arabic world, and the rest of the world who've committed suicide, and you'd be surprised. Those who overdosed, those who died of a drug addiction, but they have it all. They live the nicest lives materialistically. Materialistically. That means success is something else, my dear friends. Success is not all about money. Success, if you ask me, I will tell you success is living comfortably, making a good life for yourself, comfortably, for yourself, for your loved ones, your wife and kids, your parents as well. Living comfortably, but it doesn't stop there. Being someone influential. Making a difference in people's lives. Now that's success. Contributing to your community. Materialistically, financially, or socially, morally, academically. You're someone who achieves. You've achieved academically. You've written books. You have a theory. You've benefited people with your knowledge. You've benefited people with your wealth. There are some individuals, they make a lot of money, but they give it back to the community. The community benefits. You are someone who contributes. You are someone who inspires people's lives. You touch people's lives. Now that is success. That is success. Perhaps you don't own anything. You don't own anything in life. But you were able to touch people's lives, make a difference in people's lives. You're someone who's successful. Look at the Quran. The Quran tells us of Prophet Isa alayhi salam, Jesus Christ. We live in a nation where Jesus is not just respected and upheld, but some even worship him. They take him as God. Jesus didn't own anything. Everyone agrees on this. Christians, Muslims. Jesus did not own a house. Jesus' roof was the sky, and his bed was the sand. And he would go from place to place. But he made an impact. He influenced people's lives. He touched people's lives. He says, وَجَعَلَنِي مُبَارَكًا أَيْنَمَا كُنْتَ. He made me a blessing. He made me an influential. وَجَعَلَنِي مُبَارَكًا. I'm full of barakah. I'm full of blessings wherever I go. Someone who doesn't own a house. Someone who never married. Our Prophet married. Our Prophet had 9 wives. Isa never married. And his cousin, Yahya, John the Baptist, also never married. 2 of our prophets never married. They lived simple lives. They didn't have a family. Yahya and Isa, cousins. They never married. Never had a family. Never had a house. Yet both so influential. The measurement for success, my dear friends, is not the size of your bank account or the size of your house or where you go, where you take your family on vacation and the watch you wear and the watch that your kids wear and where you get your haircut. This could be part of success, but it's not the success. Success is living a good life, you and your family, and making a difference in people's lives. Most of our ulama died with debts. Many of them did not own their homes. They rented till the rest of their lives, including the top marja of our time. Till today, he rents. He doesn't own his house. He rents. But look at the difference they've made in people's lives. Look at how many lives they've changed. People for the next 200 years will be speaking of them. If we are lucky enough, people will mention our name a week after our death. If we're super lucky, 2 weeks after our death. After a month, we're forgotten. We're forgotten. The next day, after we're buried, our family will stop crying. After 3-4 days, they'll be laughing and joking. And life will be back to normal. How many of us have made an impact on people's lives? Now that is success. My dear friends, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala brought us into this life and wanted us to work for 2 lives. One, the akhirah. The akhirah. This is just simply a bridge. This life is a bridge. There's another life waiting for us. And that life is the eternal life. This life is temporary. 50, 60, 70, 80, 100, 110. How many years do you want to live? How many years do we want to live? At the end of the day, a day will come in which we'll have to depart. Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, Allahumma salli ala Muhammad. One day he told Jibreel, Qazwini, give me an advice, give me an admonishment. Even Rasulullah needed words of admonishment. Don't ever think you're too big that you don't need advice from anyone. We always need advice. Ya Jibreel, Qazwini, give me a word of admonishment, of advice. He told him, Ya Muhammad, ish ma shi't fa innaka mayyit. Live as long as you want. At the end of the day, you will die. No question about this. All of us, everyone in this room, in 100 years, no one will exist. We'll all be sand. We'll all be underneath the earth. And there'll be others that will come, and others and others. عِشْ مَا شِئْتْ فَإِنَّكَ مَيِّتْ وَاحْبِبْ مَنْ شِئْتْ فَإِنَّكَ مُفَارِقُهُ. And love whoever you want, but know that one day you'll have to depart. وَاعْمَلْ مَا شِئْتْ فَإِنَّكَ مُلَاقِيهِ. And do whatever you want, but know that whatever you do, you will see in the next life. You will see the results of those deeds, whether it was good or whether it was bad. We are in this life temporarily, and we are meant to work for the next life, but at the same time, this life should also not be neglected. You have to keep a balance. In Islam, we learn that we keep a balance between working for akhirah, building a home over there, an investment over there, and building a home over here as well. We keep a balance. A balance between dunya and akhirah. Allah says, Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim, the verse that I began my lecture with. وَابْتَغِي فِي مَا آتَاكَ اللَّهُ الْدَارَ الْآخِرَةِ. Use what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, all the resources that He's provided you, use them to build a good place for you, a good investment in the next life. Al-Akhirah. فِيمَا آتَاكَ اللَّهُ دَارَ الْآخِرَةِ. Your resources, your money, your wealth, build a future for you, but over there, وَلَا تَنْسَ نَصِيبَكَ مِنَ الدُّنْيَا. But also don't forget to live a good dunya as well. Allah doesn't say become a homeless person and live on the side streets or on the sidewalks. Allah doesn't say go and register at the welfare system and receive a check from the city. No. Allah says make a living. Make a living. Make a good living in dunya and for akhirah. Do both. You don't have to choose. You don't have to choose one. Choose both. Live a great life in dunya. Provide for yourself. Provide for your family members. Don't be stingy. Live large. But work for akhirah as well. فَمِنَ النَّاسِ مَنْ يَقُولُ رَبَّنَا آتِنَا فِي الدُّنْيَا وَمَا لَهُ فِي الْآخِرَةِ رَبَّنَا آتِنَا فِي الدُّنْيَا حَسَنَةً وَمَا لَهُ فِي الْآخِرَةِ مِنْ خَلَاقٍ. There are some, when they say a dua, it's all about dunya. Just dunya. Dunya. And we're like this. On Laylatul Qadr, it's the night of dua. Oh Allah, I want a car, I want a promotion, I want a job, I want this dream house of mine, I want this, I want this, I want this, all for dunya. My wife, my kids. What about akhirah? What about akhirah? Do we pray for our akhirah? Oh Allah, forgive me, forgive my sins. Let my akhirah be a good place for me. Keep me with the Prophet and his family? Do we ever pray for our akhirah as well? No, it's all about dunya, dunya. Oh Allah, this is what I want. Here, 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 here. That's it. What about akhirah? وَمِنْهُمْ مَنْ يَقُولُ رَبَّنَا آتِنَا فِي الدُّنْيَا حَسَنَةً وَفِي الْآخِرَةِ حَسَنَةً وَقِنَا عَذَابَ النَّارِ. And there are some that pray for both dunya and akhirah. Don't neglect. Don't neglect one and choose the other. You don't have to choose. You could choose both. You don't have to choose one over the other. Islam doesn't say choose akhirah over dunya. No, Islam says work for both. Many of us, we choose only dunya. All we care for is dunya. Even our dua is for dunya. My wealth, my paycheck, my promotion. Maybe I win the lotto. Maybe I receive a good amount from insurance. They say two individuals, they came to the Kaaba. They came to Kaaba. And they both had a dua. One was saying, oh Allah, $100. Just $100. The other said, oh Allah, $1 million. They both want money. Just one wanted 100 and the other wanted 1 million. So the guy praying for 1 million, he thought to himself, you know, if God is going to answer one of us, he's going to answer the $100 because it's easier, it's less, and Allah is only going to choose one, and he's going to not neglect me. So he took out $100, he put it in the guy's pocket. He's like, get lost, let me get my $1 million. And that guy's dua got answered. His dua got answered. It's about dunya. Leave just a little bit for akhirah as well. Ask for the million, ask for the paycheck, ask for the promotion, ask for the insurance, and just leave a little bit for akhirah as well. Oh Allah, secure my akhirah, my position in the next life. Forgive me. Make it easy upon me. And the stations to my akhirah. A couple of nights ago, we were at some friend's home, and I was asked, what will we see after life, after death? I told them that we have narrations that from the moment that we die until the moment we enter heaven, inshallah, there's 50 stations, 50 checkpoints. 50 checkpoints. Imagine you go from one state to another and there's 50 tolls. What do they call them? Tolls? That you have to go through? There's 50 stations that we have to go through. The least thing we do is we ask Allah, make these 50 stations easy for us. Easy for us. We have to keep a balance, my dear brothers and sisters, between dunya and between akhirah. We don't choose one over the other. According to the Ahlul Bayt, that our time, our daily schedule has to be divided in 4 segments. You see, a mu'min keeps track of time, has time management, and is very organized. A mu'min is not disorganized. Doesn't keep track of time, doesn't keep track of the week, the month. They have no clue what's going on. No, mu'mineen are organized. And Amir al-Mu'mineen would tell his companions, وَعَلَيْكُمْ بِنَظْمِ أَمْرِكُمْ. I ask you to be organized on a personal level, on a family level, on a social level, on a government level. On all levels, be organized. A mu'min divides his time into 4 segments. Listen to this hadith by Imam Musa ibn Ja'far salawatullahi wa salamu alayhi. He says, Allahumma salli ala. Let's go back to the balance that we're talking about. Keeping a balance in our life between dunya, between akhirah, and even in dunya, keeping a balance in dunya. Sometimes for worship, sometimes for family, sometimes for work, we keep a balance. The Imam says, اجتهدوا في أن يكون زمانكم 4 ساعات. 4 ساعات. The Imam says that make sure your day is divided into 4 segments. What are these 4 segments? Write them down. Number 1, ساعة لمناجاة الله. 1 segment is for Allah Azza wa Jal. This is necessary. There has to be a segment in our day. It depends on you how long you wish to make it and how short you want to make it. That depends on you and your relationship with Allah Azza wa Jal. It could be 30 minutes, it could be 3 hours, it could be 6 hours. That depends on you. But there has to be a segment. ساعة لمناجاة الله. One segment for Allah. 2. وساعة لأمر المعاش. And another segment is to make a living. You have to make a living. Dunya. You don't neglect dunya. You don't go on the welfare system. You don't go and beg. You don't become a parasite on someone else, a family member, a father, a brother, a cousin. In Islam, we're not parasites. ملعون ملعون من جعل كله على غيره. Cursed is the one who relies on others in his everyday life and his daily expenses. He relies on others. No, rely on yourself. وساعة لأمر المعاش. A segment of our day has to go to work, to make a living. وساعة لمعاشرة الإخوان. A third segment known as the social segment. And what is this? To see your brothers. And brothers in Islam is broader. It's not just your biological brothers. إنما المؤمنون إخوة. All mu'mineen are your brothers. وساعة لمعاشرة الإخوان والثقات الذين يعرفونكم عيوبكم. And when we say the social segment, it's not to sit and joke and make fun and no. This segment is for you to spend time with your brothers in Islam, brothers in Iman, so that you tell them what are their faults and weaknesses, and they tell you what are your faults and weaknesses. يعرفونكم عيوبكم ويخلصون لكم في الباطن. Those that are true friends, not just by the tongue, not just those who flatter you and try to please you and tell you what you do is right and they try to flatter you. No. Friends that truly love you. يخلصون لكم في الباطن. Deep down inside, they want what's best for you. We have to have friends like this. We have to have a segment in our daily schedule where we spend with quality friends. Friends that want the best for us. Friends that don't just say, yes, great job, good job, wow, that was amazing. No. Friends that say, that was good, but 1, 2, 3, 4. This is necessary. Number 4, وَسَاعَةٌ تَخْلُونَ فِيهَا لِلَذَّاتِكُمْ فِي غَيْرِ مُحَرَّمٍ. And one segment is the time when you get to relax. You get to do whatever you desire. لِلَذَّاتِكُمْ. Your desires. You get to go and do your desires as long as it's not haram. As long as those desires are legitimate. You're not breaking a law, an Islamic law. That's fine. Now let's break these 4 things down. وَصَلَّى عَلَى مُحَمَّدٍ وَآلِ مُحَمَّدٍ. Number 1, my dear friends, making a living. Working to make a livelihood. If this segment is ignored, you will live in poverty. Not only will you suffer, those around you will suffer because you will be a parasite on someone. Either a father or a mother or a brother. Your wife will suffer. Your children will suffer. Neglecting this segment of working, making a living. Any person who is capable of working but doesn't work, don't think this is zuhd. You're living a simple life. No, this is not a simple life. No, you're being lazy. This is a person who's lazy. This is a person, going back to our lecture 2 days ago, this is a person who either wants to watch ESPN all day or Fox, or play games all day and just waste time, kill time. This is not someone who's serious. In Islam, a man who goes out early in the morning and comes back late in the evening, struggling to bring bread to his family, this person is equivalent to another who's holding a sword, fighting in the middle of the battleground for the sake of Allah. Rasulullah says, Al-kaddu ala iyalih kal-mujahidi fi sabilillah. That 9 to 5, 8 to 5 job that you have, you're being rewarded for. Allah blesses you for. Your reward is not less than a mujahid in the middle of the battlefield defending his land, defending his country, defending his honor. This is a form of jihad. Going to work is a form of jihad. Making a living is a form of jihad. One day Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam saw a gardener, a farmer, a gardener. His hands were dirty from gardening. Rasulullah grabbed his hand and he kissed it. He kissed his hand, the gardener. He said, Had yadun yuhibbuha Allah. This is a hand that Allah loves. A hand that's worked hard in the gardens and the farms. He's earning a living for his wife, for his children, for his family. This is a hand that Allah loves. That Allah loves. One day Rasulullah walked into his masjid. He saw a young man sitting in the masjid all day long, praying, worshipping. And at the time of iftar, someone else would bring him food. And at the time of suhoor, someone would bring him food. He would fast all day and worship all day and all night. He told him, this is amazing. What you do is amazing. But who spends on you? If you're worshiping all day, who's spending on you? He said, my brother. Me and my brother, we made an agreement that I worship all day, I pray for myself, and I pray for my brother, while he works all day and he spends on us both, on his family and on my family. The Prophet said, wow, that's wonderful. But guess what? He's the true worshipper, not you. He's doing the ibadah, not you. You're a parasite. You're worshiping, but you're thinking that this is what Allah wants. That all you do is for akhirah. Well, what about your dunya? You think you could just rely on someone else? Someone else takes care of you. And this is what Allah wants from you all day, reciting Quran, dua, and that's it. No work for dunya. وَلَا تَنْسَ نَصِيبَكَ مِنَ الدُّنْيَا. My dear friends, in Islam, working is not a taboo. Working is something to be proud of. Making a living for yourself, providing for your family, this is something to be proud of. And there's no work that's taboo. Making halal income is never a taboo. There are some men that are embarrassed to say what they do for a living. No, never be embarrassed. As long as you are taking halal money, you're not stealing, you're not relying on anyone else, you're not being a parasite, there's nothing wrong with that. There's no taboo. There's no aib in that. And making halal money and working is never a shame. You should never be ashamed of whatever you do, as long as it's halal and you're bringing bread to your house. This is number one. Number two, the second segment that we need in our everyday life is worship. One segment is to work, is to make a living. Number two, worship. We don't neglect Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We don't neglect our Creator. We need a time in the day for spirituality, for acts of devotion, for salah, for dua, for connecting to Allah Azza wa Jal, with Allah Azza wa Jal. This should not be neglected as well. Because when this is neglected, you might be working and you're making a lot of money, but you'll have other problems. Those who are not connected to Allah and don't have a segment for Allah in their daily lives, they'll suffer from anxiety, from stress, from depression, from all sorts of issues, because they're not connected to the Creator. All they think about is money, 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 dunya. That's it. Here, when the balance is disrupted, things will go wrong. While Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says that if you want to be stress-free, anxiety-free, it's simple. Be connected to Allah Azza wa Jal. Ala bidhikrillah tatma'innu al-qulub. It's with the remembrance of Allah that our hearts are at ease. Our hearts are at ease. When we're not connected to Allah, when we don't have a segment in our day that connects us to Allah, we won't have a sense of purpose. Why am I here? What am I doing? We'll be lost. I won't have a sense of purpose. For me, it will be all about dunya. But that's not my purpose. We said in the beginning of the lecture, material success is not enough. We've seen people with material success, they've made it, they've become CEOs, and they make a lot of wealth, but they live miserable lives. They're not happy. Their children don't speak to them. Their wife doesn't speak to them. No one wants to speak to them. They don't have friends. Have you heard of Elon Musk? That's all I need to say. Today he tweeted about Azadari in London. The richest man in the world is spreading Shia phobia. Shia phobia. He has a video of Shias in London performing Azadari, having julus, as they say, in the streets of London. And he has even a noha playing, scaring people of Shias. This is the richest man in the world. He thinks he's unstoppable. He thinks he could do whatever he wants, and he makes people afraid of Shias, ordinary Shias. You have all the money in the world, but you don't have a brain. What do? Those who live in economic prosperity but are not connected to Allah Azza wa Jal, they live in poverty, but it's a spiritual poverty. It's not a materialistic poverty, but it's a spiritual poverty. You won't get the happiness. You can have all the money in the world, but it might not make you happy because you're not connected to Allah Azza wa Jal. When you don't have that segment that connects you to Allah Azza wa Jal, when life is coming to an end for such a person, when life comes to an end for us, God forbid we get cancer or we get one of these deadly illnesses and we have to leave, what have I accomplished? What have I achieved? If I don't have that connection to Allah, what have I achieved? All this wealth is going and I'm being put 6 feet under the ground, and that's it. For me, it's over. Game over. That's it. While my connection to Allah allows me to know that I have a purpose in life. This is not the end. This is not the end. There's another life. There are some that believe this is the end. No, there's another life after us. The third segment is our social life. This should not be neglected as well. You cannot be antisocial. A Muslim is never antisocial. Muslims, mu'mineen, they have to be social. They must interact with others. You have to have a social life. You have to have a social circle. You have to have friends. Don't live in isolation. There are some, they live above others. And they pray, they fast, they're religious, they make good money, but they don't have friends. This is not healthy. Not having friends is not healthy. You will live in depression. You will live in isolation. This will harm you as well. In the long run, you need people. You don't need people monetarily and financially. You need people. You need companionship. We as human beings, we need companions. We need friends. We need a social circle. This should not be neglected. وَسَاعَةٌ لِمُعَاشَرَةِ الْإِخْوَانِ. This should be part of our daily schedule. We have a social circle. We have friends that we meet. We speak to those whom we can trust. Those whom we may take their advice and admonishment, and vice versa. We advise one another. We admonish one another. وَتَوَاصَوْا بِالْحَقِّ وَتَوَاصَوْا بِالصَّبْرِ. Those who tell each other, remind each other of the truth, and those who remind each other to be patient. It works both ways. Number 4, the fourth segment is your personal life. Your personal life. You may relax. This has to be part of your daily schedule. To relax, to sleep, doing your hobbies, doing what you enjoy the most, reading, writing, exercising, as long as it's halal. You may enjoy yourself. You may have fun. You should have fun. Not you may, you should. This should be part of your daily schedule as long as it's halal. As long as it's halal, no one holds your hand. قُلْ مَنْ حَرَّمَ زِينَةَ اللَّهِ الَّتِي أَخْرَجَ لِعِبَادِهِ وَالطَّيِّبَاتِ مِنَ الرِّزْقِ. Say, who told you that Allah has forbidden you from enjoying yourself, enjoying your time, enjoying your favorite food, enjoying your favorite drink, as long as it's halal, as long as you're not breaking any laws? This should not be neglected as well. Our body has a right, my dear friends. There are some individuals, they're workaholics. And we see people of opposite spectrum. We see some that become parasites. They don't work, they're lazy, they take from welfare, health benefits, stuff like that. And we see some, when they come here, total opposite. They become workaholics. Workaholics. All they think about is business. Like Tha'laba. Tha'laba, one of the companions of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. He was part of Ahl al-Suffa, or Ahl al-Safwa. Ahl al-Suffa, a place designed in the masjid of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam for the homeless. There was a corner for the homeless. I don't know if it still exists. I don't remember seeing it in Hajj, but I used to see it in the 90s when we'd go to Hajj. I remember seeing it. Right now, to think of it, I don't remember where that Ahl al-Suffa used to live in the Prophet's mosque. Maybe it's removed, I don't know. Tha'laba was a homeless person that lived in the masjid of Rasulullah. One day he told him, Ya Rasulullah, pray that I become rich. Rasulullah told him, Ya Tha'laba, pray for something else. Pray for a good aqibah, a good ending in life. He said, no, Ya Rasulullah, I'm sick and tired of being poor. Pray that I become rich. Rasulullah told him, Ya Tha'laba, this might not be the best dua for you. This might not be the best dua. Pray for something else. Pray that Allah guides us. Pray that when our life ends, it ends in a good way. He said, no, Ya Rasulullah, I want to be rich. Rasulullah raised his hand. He said, Allahumma ghni Tha'laba min fadlik. Oh Allah, grant Tha'laba from your bounties. Someone came and gave Tha'laba a sheep. It starts with a sheep. He took the sheep, he sold it. With a good price, he was able to buy 2 sheep. He went and he sold the 2 sheep and he bought 4. And the 4 became 8 or 16 and they kept on doubling. Before you know it, he was a big sheep seller and a big sheep owner and he became wealthy. Tha'laba was in the masjid for salah 5 times a day. 5 times a day became once a day. Once a day became once a week. Once a week became once a month. Once became once a month. And that stopped. Rasulullah told Tha'laba, Tha'laba, where are you? Say, Ya Rasulullah, business is booming. For some, you see them, where are you? Business. Say, business is booming. I can't leave. Ajib, you can't leave for Salat al-Jum'ah? Salat al-Jum'ah is just 1 hour. The majlis is just 1 hour, 2 hours. You can't leave? The majlis is at 8 p.m. and you can't take a break from business? Is this where we've reached? That your life revolves around your business? To this degree? Khalas. Tha'laba was asked to give zakat. He refused. He refused. Again, Rasulullah asked him once, twice, 3 times. Give zakat, ya Tha'laba. You forgot who you were? You forgot you were homeless? You forgot that you would sleep in the masjid? He said, no. I earned this money. You want me to give zakat? It's like people today. You tell them, donate. Give khums. No, I give tax. What does that have to do with it? So if you give tax, you don't give khums? Tell the IRS that I give khums. If it works both ways, tell the IRS that I give khums. Go take my tax from someone else. It doesn't work that way. There has to be a limit. There has to be a limit. Your body has a right upon you. Don't be a workaholic. Make money. Make a lot of money. But at the same time, relax. إِنَّ لِبَدَنِكَ عَلَيْكَ حَقًّا. Our body has a right to sleep, to relax, to enjoy yourself. Working all the time will drain you spiritually. It will exhaust you mentally. And then what? You're collecting all of this for money for whom? Your children that will barely attend your Fatiha. That will barely give food out at your funeral. And they'll be fighting over your money. Is it worth it? You do all of this for children that won't even remember you, that can't wait to divide your cars and your wealth and your estates. Also, your family, our family has a right upon us. Some of us, we neglect our families. We don't see our children. We don't see our wives, our children. We don't see them. We don't have time. Why? Because it's all about business, business, business. This is not right. We have to make time for family as well. This should be part of our daily schedule. You make it part of the segments. You work, you worship, a social circle, you relax, and part of relaxing is that you spend time with your family. Listen to this hadith by Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. He says, send aloud salawat. He says, جلوس المرء عند عياله أحب إلى الله تعالى من الاعتكاف في مسجدي هذا. He says to spend an hour, he doesn't say an hour, he says spending time. When a man spends time with his wife and kids, عيال is your family, those who you support, your wife and your kids. Spending time with your wife and kids in the eyes of Allah is greater than performing i'tikaf. Does everyone know what i'tikaf is? The i'tikaf is fasting for 3 days in a masjid and not leaving the masjid for 3 days consecutively. This is something great in the eyes of Allah. It's one of the greatest forms of worship. fasting for 3 days consecutively and spending the days and nights for 3 days in worship. This is called i'tikaf. Rasulullah says that when a man spends time with his wife and kids, it's greater in the eyes of Allah than performing i'tikaf in my masjid, meaning al-Masjid al-Nabawi, the second greatest masjid in Islam. The second greatest masjid in Islam. Al-Masjid al-Nabawi, if you pray 2 rak'ahs, you get the reward of 10,000 salah. 10,000 salah. Rak'atani fi masjidi hada. You will see this. If you go to Al-Masjid al-Nabawi, you will see this hadith posted. ركعتان في مسجدي هذا خير من عشرة آلاف أو من ألف, or greater than 1,000. But spending a few hours with your wife and kids is greater than i'tikaf. Our families have a right on us to spend time with your wife, with your kids. Enjoy these moments. Enjoy these moments. They don't last. Time management, my dear brothers and sisters, is necessary. For success, for anyone to be successful, they have to divide their time. Devote their time for work, for worship, for family, for personal reasons, for hobbies, for reading, a forgotten hobby. Today no one reads anymore. We've forgotten to read. Unfortunately, there are so many good books that are being published, no one reads. We're the readers. Any book publisher that I see, whether it's in the East or the West, they complain, say no one reads anymore. People have forgotten to read. Previously, people would read. They would have a good read. Every day, it would be a part of their program as a daily schedule to read. Today, no one reads. Instead, we're on our phones all day. We're on our phones. We're scrolling. Posts. If we read a post. If we read comments on a post. This is what we read. We don't read. We forgot to read. When was the last time we read a quality book? This should be part of our daily schedule. These are forgotten habits. And believe me, if we don't keep these habits alive, imagine what will happen to our kids and grandkids. If we, the parents, we don't read, and we're not in the habit of reading, imagine what will happen to our kids or grandkids. Books will go extinct. Books will evaporate. We learned from books. We learned everything that we have from majalis and from Islamic books, whether it's in English or Arabic or Farsi or Urdu. Time management is important. Ambition is good, my dear friends. I see some youth, they're very ambitious. They want to become excellent doctors, excellent engineers, excellent physicians, excellent businessmen. I tell you guys, don't forget business as well. We have plenty of engineers, we have plenty of lawyers, we have plenty of doctors, but we don't have many youth in business. We need youth in business. Go into business. And this is what the Ahlul Bayt would teach their companions. At-tijara. Imam al-Sadiq, sometimes he would ask, he would check with his companions, do you do tijara? Do you do tijara? Today, did you open your shop? Did you make an investment? Imam al-Sadiq himself would check with his companions. Did you open your shop today? Go into business. We need youth that will go into business. We need CEOs. We need big names in this country. Think of it. It's a land of opportunity. You can go into any, as long as it's a halal business, check with ulama, check with scholars, see if this business is halal, go into it. We need businessmen, CEOs. وَفِي ذَلِكَ فَلْيَتَنَافَسِ الْمُتَنَافِسُونَ. Compete. It's a competitive world. Go out and compete. Be ambitious. There's nothing wrong with making money. Make wealth. Make a lot of wealth. You'll benefit. Your family benefits. Your community benefits. Your madhab, your school of thought will benefit. Someone came to one of the imams. He told him, Ya ibn Rasulullah, when I go and work and make money, I feel guilty. He told him, why do you feel guilty? He said, because I'm doing it for dunya and I'm not working for akhirah. He said, when you make money, what do you spend on? He said, I spend on my wife, my kids. He said, what else? He said, I give to the poor. He said, then you're working for akhirah, you're not working for dunya. This is akhirah. You're not doing it for dunya. Go and become millionaires. Go and become billionaires. But don't forget your community. Don't forget the poor. Don't forget distant cousins and relatives back in Afghanistan and Iran and Lebanon and Iraq, in areas where they need the most. That is akhirah, that's not dunya. That you'll be rewarded for akhirah. Be ambitious, but at the same time, make sure that it's not at the cost of your faith. It's not at the cost of your religion. Don't let money take over you. You own the money. Don't let money own you. Don't let money own you. That's the idea of wealth in Islam. You could be the richest person, but don't let that wealth own you. You own it. You benefit from it. Money is meant to protect you. You don't protect your money. Not at the cost of family. There are some that are very ambitious, but at the cost of their family, at the cost of their kids, at the cost of their wife. They neglect their wife. They neglect their wives' rights. They don't spend time with their wives. This is not right. This is not right. The idea of ambition is to bring you success. But if it's at the cost of your faith, your religion, your salah, your morals, your ethics, it's at the cost of your family, no, this is the cause of your misery, not the cause of your success. This sort of ambition will cause you misery and not success. There are non-negotiable values, my dear friends. Go out, make a living, be the best that you can be. Make all the money in the world, but family should not be negotiated. Children come first. Your family, your wife comes first. Faith and religion comes first. Values and akhlaq come first. Make money, but do it in the right way. You don't need to fool people. You don't need to lie. You don't need to cheat. You don't need to go in different ways. Go straight and make all the money in the world. And bring success to yourself and don't neglect your akhirah. That's it. Allah doesn't want anything more from you. Allah doesn't want anything more. My dear brothers and sisters, a mu'min, men and women, boys and girls, we have to be well-rounded. You know, I remember in high school, back in the dinosaur age when I was in high school, I remember they would tell us if you want to get into a good school, you have to be well-rounded. Meaning you get good grades, you're an athlete, you play basketball, you play soccer, you play football. You have to be in some clubs, sport clubs, social clubs, religious clubs. You have to be well-rounded, you get accepted in the best universities. A mu'min has to be well-rounded. What do I mean by well-rounded? A mu'min is a family man, does not neglect his family. A mu'min is ultra-religious, ultra-spiritual, does not neglect his Lord. A mu'min is a scholar, someone who reads, someone who thinks, someone who listens to lectures, someone who's a scholar in his religion, on his religion. Someone who's very social. A mu'min is never antisocial. A mu'min has a lot of friends. Doesn't say, I don't have any friends. Has a lot of friends. A mu'min observes his religion. A mu'min is athletic. We talked about sports a couple of nights ago. Athletic, exercises, is fit, is healthy. A mu'min is well-rounded. And we find all of this in our teachers, in our role models, the Ahlul Bayt. Look at Imam Ali alayhi salam. Imam Ali was very well-rounded. In every area he excelled. In every area he excelled. Amir al-Mu'mineen would say he was found being very tired. He would never sleep. Amir al-Mu'mineen would never sleep. They told him, Ya Amir al-Mu'mineen, why don't you sleep? He said, when do you want me to sleep? In nimtu layli, ضيعت nafsi. If I sleep at night, then I neglect myself. I have a relationship with Allah to keep up. I have to have an excellent relationship with Allah. So I sleep at night, my relationship with Allah is compromised. وَإِن نِمْتُ نَهَارِي ضَيَّعْتُ رَعِيَّتِي. And if I sleep during the day, my relationship with the people is compromised. My subjects, my followers, my relationship is compromised. Thus, I can't sleep. At night, I stay up for Allah. During the day, I stay up for the people, to serve the people. Amir al-Mu'mineen had an excellent balance in his life. When it came to dunya, Amir al-Mu'mineen was a worker. Amir al-Mu'mineen was a gardener. Amir al-Mu'mineen planted 1,000 trees in Medina. 1,000 trees. He would benefit from, he would sell, he would give to the poor, and he would himself eat. Amir al-Mu'mineen would dig wells. For those of you that have been to Medina, when you go to Mecca, you have to go to where? Which masjid? Masjid al-Shajara. Masjid al-Shajara has another name called Abiyar Ali, the wells of Ali. Amir al-Mu'mineen dug wells over there with his own hands. He would dig wells with water. He would benefit, others would benefit. He made a source of income for himself. He was a gardener, he was a farmer. Amir al-Mu'mineen was not ashamed of working, saying, no, I'm an imam, I have to work. In fact, all of the companions of the imams worked. They had a job. Maytham, what was his last name? At-Tammar, he would sit on the sidewalk near Masjid al-Kufa and sell dates. We have Safwan al-Jammal, one of the companions of Imam al-Sadiq. His name is Safwan al-Jammal. He owned camels and he would rent them. Someone wants to go from Medina to Mecca, he would rent his camels. Back then they didn't have Ford and Mustangs and Toyotas and Nissans. They would rent camels. This companion would rent off his camels. To Iraq, to Kufa, to Basra. Safwan al-Jammal, Fulan al-Zayyat. They all had jobs. They all had jobs, including the imams themselves. Amir al-Mu'mineen was a gardener. Yet at the same time, he had time for people, for his subjects, for his followers. One day, Amir al-Mu'mineen alayhi salam was walking in Kufa with his followers. He saw a beggar begging. He said, Ma hadha? What is this? You see, he didn't say man hadha. He didn't say who is this. He said, Ma, what is this that I see? Why do I see a beggar? They told him, Ya Amir al-Mu'mineen, he's a Christian. He's a Christian beggar. Thinking that if they tell Amir al-Mu'mineen he's a Christian, he's going to say, oh, that's okay. That's fine. Amir al-Mu'mineen looked and he said, you used him. He was an old man. You used him when he was young. Now that he's old, you've left him to beg on the streets? Shame on you. And you tell me he's a Christian so that, it becomes okay? Give him a salary. Give him a salary. Amir al-Mu'mineen was a people's person. He was always there at the service of people. He never rejected anyone. He never denied anyone. He was always at the service of people. Like, at the same time, he was a man of worship. He was a man of dua. Aren't our supplications, our greatest supplications, aren't they from Imam Ali alayhi salam? Dua kumayl. Dua al-sabah. Our greatest supplications are from Imam Ali alayhi salam. His salat al-layl. Abu Darda, one of the companions of Rasulullah and one of the companions of Imam Ali alayhi salam. He said, one day we were sitting together with Imam Ali. All of a sudden, he left us. He got up in the middle of the night. He said, I became curious. Where is Ali ibn Abi Talib going in the middle of the night? So I decided to chase him. He said, I saw Ali ibn Abi Talib go into a forest, so I chased him into the forest. He went deep in the forest and I went deep after him until he stopped. So I waited behind a tree to see what is he going to do. I saw him pray Salat al-Layl in the middle of the night, in the middle of a forest, so that no one sees him. No one can discover. And then he fell to the ground, or he lied on the ground. I said, Ali ibn Abi Talib is taking a nap. I went to call him and I saw him as stiff as a corpse. So I said, La ilaha illallah. Inna lillah wa inna ilayhi raji'un. Ali ibn Abi Talib has died. How am I going to tell his family? He said, I went, knocked the door at the house of Fatima al-Zahra. I told her, عظم الله لك الأجر. She said, what happened? I told her, Ali ibn Abi Talib is dead. She smiled. She said, explain to me what you saw. He said, I saw him praying in the middle of the forest, and then he fell. I thought he's taking a nap. I went and I saw him as stiff as a corpse. She told him, Ya Abu Darda, this is something that happens to Ali ibn Abi Talib every single night. He's not dead. Let's go together. She went, she took a bucket of water, she poured a bit of water on his face, and he woke up. Amir al-Mu'mineen was a man of Allah. He did not neglect himself. He did not neglect his worship. He was well-rounded. A man of work, a man of a family man, and a man of worship. And he was a man of academia as well. Amir al-Mu'mineen was a scholar who had students. Ibn Abbas, Today, Ibn Abbas is very revered by our Sunni brothers and sisters, as he should. But Ibn Abbas is a simple student of Imam Ali alayhi salam. He says that we asked Imam Ali to give us the tafsir of Surah Al-Fatiha. We spent weeks, if not months, just to explain to us the bism, the ba of Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Ibn Abbas was a student of Amir al-Mu'mineen. Maytham al-Tamar was a student of Amir al-Mu'mineen. Salman al-Farisi, Abu Dhar, these were all students of Amir al-Mu'mineen alayhi salam. Amir al-Mu'mineen was a scholar. He achieved academically. And he had time for his family. He had time for his children. He raised his children in the best of manners. Time and time. Look at Nahj al-Balagha. There are several sermons where Amir al-Mu'mineen is advising his sons, Al-Hasan and Hossein. There's a wasiyah known for Imam al-Hasan, a word of admonishment for Al-Hasan. أحيي قلبك بالموعظة وأمته بالزهادة وقوه باليقين ونوره بالحكمة وذكره بالموت ووقره بالفناء وبصره فجاع الدنيا. Revive your heart with admonishment. Cause it to die through detachment from worldly excesses. Strengthen it with certainty. Illuminate it with wisdom. Remind it of death. Make acknowledgement its inevitable perishability. Show it the calamities of the world. Amir al-Mu'mineen would have one-on-ones with his sons, and he would teach them. He was a family man as well. A mu'min is well-rounded, my dear brothers and sisters. A mu'min keeps a balance in dunya. On the day of Ashura, Imam Hussein alayhi salam, when he faced his enemies, on the day of Ashura, he gave a sermon. And he said, do you not see who I am? Do you not know who my grandfather is? أليس جدي رسول الله محمد اللهم صل على محمد. They said, yes, of course we know who your grandfather is. أليست أمي فاطمة? Is my mother not Fatima? They said, yes. أليس حمزة سيد الشهداء عمي? They said, yes. أليس جعفر الطيار عمي? They said, yes. Ja'far is your uncle, Hamza is your uncle. He kept on making a list of who he is, and they said, yes, we confirm and we affirm and we know exactly who we are. Then why are you fighting me? They said, بغضا نقاتلك بغضا منا لأبيك. We are fighting you out of our hatred to your father, Ali ibn Abi Talib. We hate this man. We hate this man. Of course, when he killed their forefathers, when he killed their ancestors in Badr and Uhud and Hunayn, and in all of the other battles, obviously they'll be resentful of Imam Ali alayhi salam. So much hatred for Amir al-Mu'mineen alayhi salam. And up until recently, in 2011, 12, 13, there's an area in between Karbala and Baghdad known as Latifiyah. Now, what I'm about to tell you, it's not an isolated event. One person told us. No. We heard this by scores. Tens of people told us this. That there were individuals, they would stop. Murderers. Al-Qaeda, ISIS, whatever you'd like to say. They would stop in Latifiyah. It's a countryside in between Karbala and Baghdad. They'd stop a car that's going to Karbala from Baghdad or from Baghdad to Karbala. They'd stop him and they tell him, we have a request. You fulfill this request, you go free. You don't fulfill this request, we cut your heads off. What is the request? You curse Ali ibn Abi Talib. نُقَاتِلُكَ بُغْضًا مِنَّا لِأَبِيكَ. Till today, until recently, it runs in their veins. It runs in their blood, hatred for Imam Ali, and it runs in our veins, the love of Imam Ali alayhi salam. And as many, you would be surprised how many people would say, we will not curse, take our necks. Take our necks, we will not curse. Tens, if not hundreds, died in Latifiyah because they refused to curse Ali ibn Abi Talib. نُقَاتِلُكَ بُغْضًا مِنَّا لِأَبِيكَ. Tonight we will remember a young man from the camp of Imam Hussein, Al-Qasim ibn al-Hasan. The memory of Imam al-Hasan to Imam Hussein alayhi salam. Imam al-Hasan's orphan. When everyone entered one by one, especially after Ali al-Akbar was martyred, Al-Qasim came to his uncle. Al-Qasim was 14, 15 years old. His beard had not come out. He was barely growing a beard. He came to his uncle, Amma, I'd like to seek your permission into fighting. Ali al-Akbar went. Others went. You have to give me permission to fight. How could Imam Hussein give permission to his brother's orphan? He raised Al-Qasim, entered Imam Hussein's house at the age of 4. And now he's 14. That means Imam Hussein raised him like his own. Like his own son. There's no difference to Imam Hussein between Ali al-Akbar and Qasim. He told him, no, my son. No. On the night of Ashura, the night before, Imam Hussein alayhi salam told his companions, as we shall mention on the night of Ashura, tomorrow night, he told them that tomorrow we will all die. All of us, we will die. No one will live. Al-Qasim told him, my uncle, am I part of the dead as well? Am I part of the shuhada? What a difficult question to ask. How is Imam Hussein supposed to answer this question? He told him, Bunay, Al-Qasim, وَكَيْفَ الْمَوْتُ عِنْدَكِ? How do you view death? Are you afraid? Are you worried? Yet this young man answered this question with an answer that no adult could have. He said, Ya am, wallah, ya am, fi nusratika ahla min al-asal. Death, if it means to support you, then it's sweeter than honey. It's sweeter than honey. On the day of Ashura, Al-Qasim was able to taste this honey and the service of Abu Abdullah. He told him, no, you will not fight. You will not fight. Al-Qasim goes for moments and then he comes back with a letter signed by his father Al-Hasan, directed to his brother Abu Abdullah. Akhi Abu Abdullah, a day will come in which you will need my son to be by your side. Don't say no to him. Allow him to fight by your side, my brother. Imam Hussein alayhi salam did not have words for Al-Qasim. Instead, ضمه إلى صدره فجعلا يبكيان ساعة. He hugged him for an hour and they both cried. Nephew and uncle bidding farewell to one another. And then Imam al-Hussein gives Al-Qasim the turban of his brother Al-Hasan, the sword of his brother Al-Hasan, the Quran of his brother Al-Hasan. And Qasim enters the battlefield. In tunkuruni فأنا نجل الحسن سبط النبي المصطفى والمرتهن. He began to recite verses of poetry and he entered the battlefield. They say that Al-Qasim did not go to regular soldiers. He went directly to the commander of the army, Hamil al-Liwa. This is how ambitious Qasim was. His ambition was to go to the army general in the army of Umar ibn Sa'd. Hamid ibn Muslim says that one of the comrades, Hamid ibn Muslim says that I saw a young man, his face was glowing like a moon on a full night. He said, by God, if this young man strikes me, I would not return the strike. He said, my comrade said, by God, I will return the strike and I will go now and I will let his uncle bereave him, sit over his corpse and cry over him. Al-Qasim was fighting fiercely, but his sandal strap broke. Al-Qasim knelt to fix the strap of his sandal. When one of the enemy soldiers hit him on his head, Al-Qasim fell to the ground. Amma alayka minni salam, فهذا جدي قد سقاني بكأسه الأوفى شربة لا أظمأ بعدها أبدا. My uncle, this is my grandfather, peace be upon you. This is my grandfather quenching my thirst with a cup of water from heaven. وَإِنَّ لَكَ كَأْسًا مَذْخُورًا فَالْعَجَلَ الْعَجَلَ. And there's a cup waiting for you, my uncle, so rush to us. Imam Hussein rushes to Al-Qasim. He sees him bleeding. He sees him taking his last breath. يعز على عمك أن تدعوه فلا يجيبك أو يجيبك فلا يعينك أو يعينك فلا يغني عنك شيئا. It is with sorrow, with a lot of sorrow, that you call your uncle, and your uncle cannot respond, or he responds but cannot help, or helps but cannot save you from death. تبا لقوم قتلوك ومن خصمهم يوم القيامة جدك وأبوك. Curse upon a nation that has killed you, and who will have to stand and face your father and grandfather tomorrow. آخر مرا برخاک تنهایی نشاندی، پر شدی جان مرا بر لب رساندی. در این زمانی که عمو یاور ندارد، رفتی و تنها تر شدم با من نماندی. با این لب پاره ز جام عشق خوردی، زهر فراقت را به کام من چشاندی. یک بار بابایت سفر کرد و مرا کشت، این بار تو با رفتنت من را تکاندی. ای قاسم جان، زخم عمیق آبرویت بیچارم کرد، این پارگی پهلویت بیچارم کرد. لا حول ولا قوة إلا بالله العلي العظيم. إنا لله وإنا إليه راجعون. Raise your hands in dua. نسألك اللهم وندعوك باسمك العلي الأعظم